Hello, everyone. Hi there. Welcome to Verbling, www.verbling.com. I'm Teacher Oakley, and we're going to continue talking about simple verb tenses today. Our focus today will be on past tense. So simple past tense. We're going to look at how it is formed and look at the several uses of the past simple, when and where we use it, and you guys, the students, are going to practice these different uses. That's what we're doing. So all aboard, toot toot. Let's get started. Rah rah. Hello, Naibe. Welcome to the class.
Good night, Oakley. How are you?
Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it may be. Good after morning. I don't know, whatever. Hi, Naive. It's nice to see you.
Me too.
Thank you. Welcome to the class, Suna.
Hey, good evening.
Hi, Suna. I hope you can stay connected today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, nice to see you.
Yes.
Welcome, Salvatore. Hey there. Hi, Salvatore.
Hi, okay.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing well today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, you too. Nice to see you again.
As always, yeah. Like, back at you. Welcome to the class, Enrique.
Hi,
Hello,
teacher.
Enrique. Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Okay, nice to have you in the class. Hello, Jairo. Jairo. Hello. Jairo, are you mic'd up there, bud? Yeah, okay. Hi, there we go.
Yes,
hello.
I'm here.
Great. Happy to have you with us. Okay. Let's get started. I'm going to throw a screen share up here, and we'll start talking about simple past verb tense. Okay, the form is quite simple. Usually the past tense for regular verbs, we simply add ed. Now, of course, in English we have, pardon me, we have regular forms and irregular forms of verbs, irregular and irregular verbs. There's good and bad news about irregular verbs. There's the vast majority of verbs are regular. The bad news is most of the commonly used verbs in English are irregular verbs. Is there any secret to learning the forms of irregular verbs? Well, unfortunately, the answer is no, not really. You have to look them up and you have to remember. So irregular, a regular form is like walk, walked, or in our examples, call, called. Irregular forms include like run. Today I run. Yesterday I ran, in the past tense, and ran. And you have to learn the past participle. Sometimes the past tense and the past participle are the same. Sometimes they're different. Unfortunately, you have to learn them each one at a time. Okay, let's basic examples of how the simple past looks in a sentence. In simple sentences, subject you, past tense called, and the object noun Debbie. Very simple. You called Debbie. In the question form, as always, the subject and the first auxiliary. In this case, we need an auxiliary to help. We need some kind of word to help with the question in the question form. Did you call Debbie? All right. So these, the auxiliary and the subject noun are reversed in a question, and then finally in the negative not follows the first auxiliary. You didn't call Debbie. Notice that I am using the contracted form, which would be much more common in spoken English. It is okay, it is normal, it is natural to use contracted form, and very often we can use a contracted or reduced form with not. Did not, didn't. All right, so those are the basic forms. One other note before we get started on uses and practice. Of course, you have to be careful of the ED past tense pronunciation because there are 3 ways to pronounce the ED ending in English. Briefly, if the main verb before the ED ending is added, if the main verb ends with a T or D, that is the only time, this is the main rule, that is the only time where you actually pronounce the E or the vowel sound of the ED. For example, wait becomes waited. In other words, you add a syllable only when the verb ends with T and or D. Now that is a solid pronunciation rule. Always, 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 always works. To add, added. It adds, okay, and adds a syllable to the word. The other 2 pronunciations have to do with if the last sound of the word is a voiced sound or unvoiced. If it's unvoiced, meaning you don't actually use your vocal cords, you're just breathing, like walk, the K sound is just, I'm not actually voicing it. Then the pronunciation of the ED is actually a T sound, walked. Okay. If the last sound is voiced, then it's a D sound. Let's see. Like, let's see. The verb ban, B-A-N, banned, banned. The D sound is simply added. Most important thing, the only time you're ever going to pronounce the E, add a syllable, is with verbs that end with T or D. Okay, that really is a lesson for another day, so let's talk about uses. Okay, first, completed action in the past, all right? Completed action as...
Completed.
Completed. Well, hi there. Hi, gone. Is this Gonzalez or?
Hello. Excuse me. I'll try to pronounce. Repeat your
Okay.
your voice.
I noticed that. And is this Gonzalez? Is that your name?
Yes, this is my name.
Okay, all right. Thought so. Just checking. Okay. Well, it came through loud and clear, Gonzalez. So you may want to mute your microphone while you're practicing pronunciation. That's perfectly okay, Gonzalez. And actually, I think that's a great idea to practice pronunciation as I'm speaking. But please recognize that we can all hear you doing that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Nice to have you aboard, Gonzalez. And since I'm saying howdy, Ludi. Nice to see you again, as always.
Hi, Oakley.
Hi.
Hi, Najibe. Hi, Jairo. Hi, everyone.
Nice.
Hi, Lodi.
Hi, Lily.
Ludi's so nice. Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. Completed action in the past, represented by this blue X. Action is finished. Of course, if the action was going to continue, we would need a completely different tense. But very specifically, the important thing is this action is done. It started and finished at a specific time in the past. It is not necessary to mention the specific time, but it is possible. If you don't mention the specific time, remember that the speaker would have a specific time in mind. For example, I saw a movie yesterday. All right. Now, okay, here we do have a time word or a time phrase, a word here, obviously, to clarify, you know, when the movie was seen. So it is common to have a time phrase. It does help clarify the information. Not a bad idea. You often see time phrases used in English. It's very, very common just to clarify that information and actually solidify the use of the verb tense. I saw a movie yesterday. All right, that movie is over. As shown by the blue, or really purple, I guess it's purple. Purple X up here. Negatively, I didn't see a play yesterday. Neither did I. Okay, so you can talk about an action that's finished that never happened. All right, equally possible. Certainly, you can introduce a past simple verb tense with a time phrase. For example, last year I traveled to Japan. Again, the action is over, and or negatively, last year I didn't travel to Korea. Question form, did you have dinner last night? Last night is clearly over, has no relationship to now. All right, she washed her car. Very simple. Subject, verb, object. All right, she washed her car. He didn't wash his car. Okay, simple enough. All right, something that happened yesterday, last week. How long ago it happened doesn't matter. Okay, I dropped my pencil. That happened 1 second ago. Actually, less than a second ago. Fine. Dinosaurs roamed the earth. Okay, clearly that happened several hundreds of millions of years ago. So how long in the past doesn't matter. All right, very simple. Finished action in the past. Let's try it out. Naibe, you were first in today, so you have the honor of going first. Can you
Okay.
give it a try? Yes, disembodied voice.
Okay. I have a question.
Sure.
I can write or say yesterday I saw a movie, or is incorrect?
Sure you can. But just as these sentences here last year, you would have a comma. Yes, you can. Yesterday, I saw a movie. That's because you're... Whoops. Whoops, my space key is sticking there. Yes, you can. Yesterday, I saw a movie. Period. Yesterday, I saw a movie. This is called the subordinator now. So you absolutely can do that, but you need a comma. Sure.
Okay.
Yes, it is
Okay,
correct
thank you.
to speak or write it that way. Very good.
Okay.
Naibe,
Yes.
can you give us an example? What happened
Mm,
yesterday
uh,
in the past?
Yesterday, I watched my car.
Okay, yesterday I washed my car. Simple enough. Good for you. Perfect. All right, Salvatore. Give me an example of a finished action in the past.
One moment, teacher, sorry. Yes. Yesterday I listened to Italian music.
Yesterday, I listened to Italian music. Okay, listened. A little,
Listen.
yeah, okay, better. All right, fine, great. No problem there. Okay, Suna, can you
Yes.
throw out a quick example of a simple past?
Yesterday, I cleaned my house.
Good for you. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I need to welcome a new student to the class. Is it, I can only read part of your name. Abdullah or Abdul? Abda? Hello?
Hello,
Smiley. Hi, what's your name?
Abdullah.
Abdullah. Good guess. Getting very good at guessing names from only the first 3 letters. Okay. Abdullah, welcome to the class. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks. Abdullah, can you give us an example of a sentence, past simple tense, describing a finished action?
I played football yesterday.
You what football yesterday?
Yeah.
You played?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I can hear you okay, but your audio quality is not very good. It's a little muffled. So I'm having a little bit of a problem understanding. Okay. I played football yesterday. That's perfectly fine. Enrique.
Okay. I ate seafood yesterday.
Great. Okay. An irregular verb. Eat, ate, eaten. No problem.
Yes.
Super. Good job. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Uh,
My example is I studied English the last weekend.
I studied English the last weekend. Okay, good use of the verb tense. However, you don't really need the article the. You can just say I studied English last weekend.
Okay.
By the way, that reminds me, just an area of confusion talking about weekends. When we're talking about last weekend, which is to say, you know, the 8th and 9th of June, okay, would it be the 8th and 9th? Well, whatever. We say last weekend. When we say in English this weekend, we're actually talking about a few days from now in the future. All right, sometimes this is confusing. Some people try to use past tense with the phrase this weekend, but that doesn't make sense. All right, this weekend refers to the future. It's vague, I know, but there it is. Jairo, can you give us a quick example?
Yes. Yesterday, I asked many questions to Oakley.
Yeah, you did, and you know what, Jairo? I appreciate that. I like questions. Questions are good. So all of you guys, follow Jairo's example. Feel free to ask questions whenever they come up. I actually like it. It really helps me, actually. So thanks, Jairo, and good job. Ludi.
Yeah, yesterday I didn't review the homework of my son.
Oh, naughty, naughty. Okay, very good. Finally, we got a negative past tense. I didn't review. All right. Did not review. Okay. All right. Very good. Did not review. Notice that the verb itself, the did not, did is the past tense. All right. The word review, like I didn't travel, is in its regular infinitive form. We definitely do not say I didn't reviewed my homework. So Ludi did a great job, and thank you for a different example there. All right. Keep it moving here. Use number 2, a series of completed actions in the past, but notice these actions ended in the past, as shown in the little diagram here. Little purple X's. Oh, okay. Repeated actions. Okay, whatever it is, obviously the same action. You're going to use different verbs. If you're talking about, if you're talking about different actions, which is actually what we are talking about. Sorry, jumbled up there. Okay, these actions happen first, second, third, fourth, and so on. 1, 2, 3. All right, what are we talking about here? When we're talking about a sequence of events, actually. All right, I finished work, walked to the beach, and found a nice place to swim. The idea here is that the speaker finished work first, then they walked to the beach, and then they found a nice place to swim. Of course, in that order, 1, 2, 3. So, okay. So the actions were consecutive. Of course, found a nice place to swim still is the number 3 purple X here. It is still a finished action. All the actions are obviously finished. Sometimes you can use time markers or time phrases to actually designate specific times. He arrived from the airport at 8, checked into the hotel at 9, and met the others at 10. Fine. Okay, say you're doing a recipe. Did you add flour, pour in the milk, and then add the eggs? Hey, you know, maybe you're making a recipe. Maybe it really doesn't matter that much which you add first, the eggs or the flour or the milk. But by expressing it this way, you're basically more or less implying that it would be in this order. Okay, let's try this one out real quickly. I'm going to start with Salvatore this time. Salvatore, what did you do yesterday in order? Tell me 3 things. Or
Okay.
sometime in the past.
Yesterday I woke up. Yesterday I dreamed. Then I woke up, and then I had a shower.
Okay, you dreamed? Okay. There's a topic for another day. Okay, very good. No problem with that. I dreamed. Then, notice he starts yesterday with the time phrase I dreamed. Then I woke up. Okay, fine. And then. Okay. Obviously, we'd be separating each action with a comma if we were writing. No problem with that. All right, very good. Suna,
Yes.
tell me about a sequence of events in the past.
Yes. I had lunch, had a walk with my dog, and talked to my husband.
You cooked your husband?
Talk.
Talked.
Yeah.
Oh,
Talk
okay.
to my.
Okay, talked to my husband.
Yeah.
Don't forget the collocation of the preposition. Talk to my husband. For a second, Suna, I thought you said you cooked your husband. Oh my goodness. I was terrified.
Terrible.
Oh my goodness. Also, okay, Suna, very good job using the verbs. However, be careful of pronunciation of lunch.
Lunch.
Yes, don't add the extra vowel sound. Right.
Yes. Lunch.
Lunch. Okay. You got to be careful of that. I know that in Hangul, it's lunchi. Yeah, I understand that. You got to be careful with that, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Abdullah, you're welcome. Thank you. Abdullah, talk to me about a sequence of events in the past.
3 verbs.
Sorry?
I washed my face, ate my breakfast, and driving to my house.
Abdullah, sorry to say, I can barely hear you. It's very muffled. It kind of sounds like you're talking into a pillow or something. Can you give it to me one more time? I'll try. Abdullah? Okay. Okay, Abdullah. See if you can do something about clearing up your audio. I'm not sure. It's your microphone or something you can fix. Enrique.
Okay. I got up at 7 a.m. I took the bus and arrived my work at 9 a.m.
Okay. Well, that's two events, and okay, that's fine. First of all, you woke up at 7 p.m. At 7 at night.
No, a.m. I got
A.m.
up. Yes,
Okay.
I got up 7 a.m. Yes.
A.m. All right. I heard p.m.
No, e.m.
A.m. The reason yeah, that's better. Yeah.
A.m. Okay, thank you.
Right. I'm struggling to understand because it sounds like E.M., so I hear it as P.M. because that's what my brain expects to hear when I hear the E sound. So, yeah, and very important, A.M. And also, Enrique, you arrive at somewhere. All right? You arrived at work. I arrived at the train station. You either arrive at or you can arrive from, as we can see in the example here. At or from, usually preposition with arrived. Okay, doesn't necessarily have to be okay, Enrique gave us a list of two things. That's fine. Actually, that raises a good point. All our examples have 3 different actions. It doesn't have to be 3 actions. It can be 2, 3, 27. Well, 27 would be a very long sentence. Hyro, can you give us an example of
Yes.
sequenced events?
I booked my lunch, I ate my lunch, and I worked very hard all day, like a slave.
Like a slave. Okay. I bought my lunch, I ate my lunch, I worked very hard all day, like a slave. Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Just usually one little comment here. Usually, of course, if we're listing activities, listing actions, these actions would all have some kind of relationship to each other. Would be some kind of natural sequencing. Bought lunch, ate lunch, and then worked like a slave. The last part kind of doesn't really go with the other parts. So in reality, if you're writing or speaking, you would probably break that into 2 separate sentences because bought and ate and then worked like a slave, really 2 different ideas. So in English, we'd probably separate that into a second sentence. Just for your information, just FYI. Ludi.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you?
Yeah. Yesterday I watched TV, then I read news on my cell phone, and then I brushed. I don't know how to say brushed my teeth.
Brushed?
Brushed my teeth.
Brushed. Yeah, that's because,
Brushed my teeth.
yeah, that's it. The words that end, oh, that's, a lot of people have problems with that. The SH sound, sh, is an unvoiced sound, so the ED at the end has a T pronunciation. Okay. Very common error for second language speakers. So, washed, brushed, wished, always a T sound. Thank you, Ludi. All right. Naibe, can you give us an example?
Yes, the last night I cooked the dinner, I cleaned the house, and I went to sleep.
Okay. Very good as far as verb tense. No need to say the last night. Okay, just last night would be.
Okay, last night.
It's perfectly clear. So it's not necessary to say the. Right. It is possible that in some circumstances you may use the with last night. For example, the last night I worked late. Okay, now I have to clarify a very specific night. The last night that I worked late at the office, I left my cell phone on my desk. Something like that. All right. Now, let's be confusing here. Use number 3, duration in the past. Okay. This can be confusing because you might think we normally talk. We normally would use continuous tenses to describe duration in the past. And you would be right. Okay. However, the simple past can be used with a duration which stops and starts in the past. All right, so it finishes in the past. Okay, it's seen in this diagram here and designated by the green line. Okay, a duration is a longer action, often indicated by expressions such as for 2 years, for 5 minutes, all day, etc. Okay, so we're going to use some kind of phrase to express the duration, just to make it clear. Okay. For example, I lived in Brazil for 2 years. Okay. Now, can I use past continuous tense, which may be what you were possibly thinking when you saw this diagram? I know actually I was. Whenever I hear the word duration, I think continuous tense, frankly. Could I use a past continuous? Because the action does end in the past. I was living in Brazil for 2 years. Well, the answer is sure. Why not? Okay, so it would be perfectly normal to do that. But it's also okay as long as the action ends in the past. And as long as you clearly, it's very obvious what the duration began and ended in the past, then it's also okay to use past simple. Shauna studied Japanese for 5 years. Okay. Obviously, this makes it very obvious that the 5 years is over, ended in the past. All right. Okay, what is the difference? Shauna studied Japanese for 5 years. Shauna was studying Japanese for 5 years. What is the difference here? The difference, very simply, is the speaker is changing emphasis. Shauna studied Japanese for 5 years. I'm emphasizing, really, I'm emphasizing the idea she studied Japanese. Shauna was studying Japanese for 5 years. I've changed the emphasis on the sentence actually to the duration. I'm more concerned about how long she studied. All right, as the speaker, that is, of course, always we look at verb tenses from the speaker's point of view, what the speaker thinks. Okay, so they sat at the beach all day. They were sitting at the beach all day. Actually, that would be very logical because I want to emphasize that they were sitting and sitting and sitting. I'm changing the meaning of the sentence very slightly because I'm emphasizing they were there all day long. Okay, so using a verb like wait, you know, they waited all day. Okay, it probably would be more likely to say they were waiting all day, which is emphasizing the length of time. Negatively, okay, they didn't stay at the party the entire time. Okay, so you don't have to give really specific durations. You can figure it out the entire time, what, of the party, of course. We talked on the phone for 30 minutes. All right, in a dialogue, how long did you wait for them? We waited for 1 hour. Okay, simple. All right, using these examples, now we're going to try making a sentence that talks about a duration, something that stopped and started in the past. Notice all these sentences use some form of phrase to designate the duration. Or in the example of the question, how long did you wait for them? The question specifically is, what was the duration? Okay, so remember to include a duration. Something stopped and started in the past. Suna, can you give this a try?
I lived in Korea until last year.
Ah, very good. Okay, using until last year, which makes it very clear that the action of living there has ended in the past.
Yes.
And we assume that Suna is not immortal, and in fact she was born. So we can assume there was a beginning and an end in the past. Very good, Suna. Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing the fact you can use until. Good job. Abdullah, you want to give it a try here?
Hi.
Hi. Okay. You want to try giving me an example using simple past of an action that started and stopped.
I wrote my homework for 2 hours.
Okay. I wrote my homework for 2 hours. Okay. Very good. You're using the past simple. As I asked, just one note. We probably, even if your homework was a written assignment, I wrote my homework for two hours. It would not be common to do that. Normally in English, we use the simple verb did. I did my homework for 2 hours, regardless of what that homework is. Is it project, mathematics, writing? Normally, we're always going to use the verb do or did for homework. Or as a matter of fact, any kind of work, we use the verb did. Okay, I did some work at home. I'm not going to say I wrote some work at home. I would definitely still use do or did. Enrique, can you give me an example? Enrique, are you there? Oh, Enrique's gone. Sorry, Gonzalez. my bad. Sorry, I didn't notice he slipped out. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Hi
Yes.
there. Hi.
Yes, I am here.
Great. Can you give me an example of past simple to show a
Uh,
duration?
okay, I worked in the university for 1 year.
Okay. Be careful of the past tense pronunciation. Worked. Worked. Again with the
Worked.
T sound. Worked. Worked. Okay. But nothing wrong with your example. Very good. Okay. Jairo?
Yes,
Hi. Can you give me an example?
I ran under the rain for 1 hour.
I ran in the rain. We say in the rain. You can't be on the rain. You'd be running in the clouds. Yeah, okay. In the rain. All right. Very good. As long as you change your preposition there. Ludi,
Yeah.
can you give me an
Uh,
example?
yeah. I worked in design for 7 years.
Excellent. Perfect. I worked in design for 7 years. Okay. Great. What kind of design, Ludi? Or are you just making that up as an example?
Design are draws for engineering.
Ah, okay. Like product design? Like that?
Yeah.
Ah, nice. Okay. Thanks. I was just curious. Sorry. Thank you, though.
You're welcome.
Uh, Naive. Yeah. Can you give me an example? Yeah.
She didn't the report yesterday.
She didn't.
I
What?
the report
Okay.
yesterday.
She didn't do the report. All
Ah,
right.
okay. She didn't do the report
Yeah,
yesterday.
right. So our past tense is in the didn't negative here. Do the report. Actually, very similar to what I was talking about with Abdullah. Any kind of work, homework, a report, project, work, a job, a task, a chore, all of those things we do. We're going to use the simple verb do. So you do a report. Just, okay. Thank you, Naive. Salvatore,
Okay.
your turn.
Last evening I didn't see the entire movie because it was boring.
Okay, very good. Excellent job. Last night I didn't see the entire movie. Now, okay, this is great. Good example. There is no really clear designation of how much time or what the duration was, but it is implied and it is obvious because movies have a duration. All right? So thanks, Salvatore. That was actually very good.
Thank you,
Good
teacher.
good example of how sometimes it's not necessary, but it's more like it's implied. We all know that movies stop and start. Okay, good job. Okay, use number 4, habits in the past. Things we used to do. All right, a habit which stopped in the past. Notice the overlying theme here as we look at all these uses. This action or these actions have all ended in the past. Same here. Okay, this habit has ended in the past. We often, of course, use the phrase used to, which basically has the same function. To make it clear that we're talking about a habit, we often add expressions like always, often, usually, never, things, entire phrases, subordinate clauses like when I was a child, when I was younger. All right. Okay. we often, it's not necessary. It's usually clearer when we add these expressions. All right, looking at some examples here. I studied French when I was a child. He played the violin. Okay, this is not very clear, honestly, that this sentence, he played the violin. We would have to have context, other sentences, other information around it. From just looking at this sentence, I don't know if he played the violin yesterday. I don't know if he played it for a duration of time. I may assume that most people do. I don't know if this was a past habit that he had. I have no idea. So without any kind of time phrase of duration or an expression like these, I'm a little bit at loss without a context. All right? So this is kind of important. Here's an example which I would call a bad example. Same with the next one. He didn't play the piano. When? Yesterday, specifically? For 3 years? As a duration? As a child? I don't know what you're talking about here. So this is kind of important. Did you play a musical instrument when you were a child? Oh, okay. When you were a kid? All right. Now we have a designated time. We know it's a habit in the past, probably. Regular thing. She worked at the movie theater after school. All right. Very good. Notice by adding the phrase used to, we could clarify that. I used to study French when I was a child. All right. You may not use used to because you have the time phrase. He used to play the violin. He used to play, not used to played. He used to play the violin. That would go a long way toward clarifying the meaning here. Now, when the phrase used to, and then regular infinitive, present tense verb is used, I know we're talking about a habit that started and ended in the past. It's very clear. He didn't used to play the piano. Okay, fine. That helps a lot if we're not going to use one of these phrases. All right, they never went to school. They always skipped class. All right, there's enough information there. So, people obviously go to school when they're children, or when they're young at least. So that's kind of obvious. Okay, let's try. let's try this out. All right, starting with Abdullah. Talk to me about something that you used to do, a habit you had as a child, maybe something you did as a kid. Abdullah, are you there? Abdullah? Okay. I'll skip you for this round. Gonzalez, or we'll come back to you. Gonzalez?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Talk to me about something you used to do, a habit you had when you were younger.
I don't know. For example, I didn't play the football soccer when I was in the university.
Okay, that's great. I didn't, negative, I didn't play football when I was in university. Okay, that's great. Good example.
Thanks.
All right. Jairo.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe I drank a cup of coffee every morning.
Okay. I drank a cup of coffee every morning. Very good. Now, okay, this is kind of unclear. Well, a little bit. You could clarify it a little bit. I used to drink a cup of coffee every morning. All right, would make it more clear it was a habit. Or I drank a cup of coffee every morning while I was in university. All right.
Okay.
Just it could be clearer. So this usage is a little tricky. Sometimes it's vague unless you have context or you clarify it. Lude,
Yeah.
can you give? Yeah.
When I was a child, I never played video games.
Yeah, very good. Good for you. I never played video games.
That is true.
That is true. Good for you. Me too. Me too. Actually, I did play video games, but I'm so old, Ludi. The only video game was Pong. That stupid game with a beep, 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 beep. That was the height of technology when I was young. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Naibe.
I didn't take English class when I was a student in the school.
In school. All right.
In school.
Okay. Wow, you're doing remarkably well, Naibe. Very good job. Okay. Considering you didn't take English classes, you're doing great. Salvatore? Can you give me an example?
Yes. When I was a child, I used to tell lies.
Oh, did you? But now you don't. That's what you're implying. You're by using this sentence structure, Salvatore is trying to tell us he's a very, very, very honest man. Yes. Okay. All right. That's fine. It's fine that you use used to. Honestly, guys, it's very common to use used to make it very clear that this habit or this action, this thing you use you don't do anymore. Suna.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you talk to me about your past?
I had a drink 2 years ago.
You had a what?
Drink.
A drink a few years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Because you had a drink a few years ago.
No, I don't have a drink.
Drink? Oh, now I don't drink. Oh, okay. All right. Because you use the article a. I had a drink a few years ago. You're talking about one completed action in the past. All right?
Yeah.
So this is tricky because the verb drink, okay, you can drink if you're talking about alcohol especially, you can drink as a habit. So that's a tricky verb, just saying I drank when I was younger. Okay, that would work. Or I used to drink more, something like that.
Okay.
All right. Saying I had a drink, that's very much like a drink. That is one. So that would be seems more like one finished action.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Past facts or generalizations. Wow, we are running out of time. Lots of uses for past simple. Simple past can also describe something that was in the past a fact or a generalization about something. This is important, which is no longer true, as designated by this purple line here. This past fact is no longer the case. This past generalization, okay, is again quite simple, similar to what we just looked at, where we would be prone to use used to. Some examples. She was shy as a child, but now she's very outgoing. Again, I could say she used to be shy as a child, but now she's very outgoing. He didn't like tomatoes before. Okay, not exactly a habit. Not liking tomatoes is not exactly a habit, so this is more of a generalization or a fact. Well, I guess a fact. He didn't like tomatoes before. He used to not like tomatoes. Okay, in a question, did you live in Texas when you were a kid? Obviously, it's a fact. Either you did or you didn't live in Texas, for example. People paid much more to make cell phone calls in the past. There you go. There is a fact about the past. Is that a fact? I'm not so sure, but okay. That's the idea. All right, we have just a couple minutes. Maybe you guys could give me a fact about the past which is not true anymore. Jairo, can you? It could be a personal fact. It could be a fact about the big wide world, a fact about Colombia, whatever. Jairo, tell me about a fact that it's just not true anymore.
When I was young, I was more athletic.
Okay. When I was young, I was more athletic. Very good. Okay. Perfect. All right. Good job. Lodi?
Yeah. For example, Colombia had a sad history with about drugs with Pablo Escobar.
Okay. That's a tricky one. Colombia had a sad history. That would mean that this sad history ended in the past, and there is no more sad anything about drugs. All right. Which could be true, and you're the speaker, so you're allowed to make that judgment call. Okay. Okay, that's a little tricky. Colombia has a sad history, implies up to now. That's a little tricky because, of course, Colombia's history includes up to now. It still exists. So that one's a little tricky, but you can do what you did, but it definitely implies, again, as all these past simple tenses do, this stopped. This action stopped. Naibi, can you give me a past fact or generalization?
Computers. The computers was very big before.
Okay. Since you're using a plural, though, computers were.
Okay, computers were
Very big.
Were very big before.
Yeah, and that's both a very good sentence, for good grammar, and it's very true. Excellent. Salvatore.
Okay. Did you eat pizza margherita when you visited Italy?
Haha, nice. Okay. Did you eat? Okay. That would. Okay, you could be asked as both. Is it a fact? Yeah, I guess it would be. Is it a action that ended in the past? It's both things. Okay, actually, again, good example, Salvatore. We looked at all these 5 uses. It's definitely possible that you are fulfilling 2 of these uses at the same time, which, frankly, Salvatore just did. All right, so great. Suna, last but not least.
Yes. I didn't cook last year, but now I cook well.
I didn't cook, okay, last year, but now I cook well. Okay, excellent, good job. Okay, one last thing. When using past tense, we're often going to use when clauses. When I dropped my pen, when class began. These when clauses are important because when we use them, it's important to know when I paid her $1, she answered my question. Obviously, you paid $1 first, then she answered my question. This is important because we can flip-flop the two clauses of the sentence. She asked my question. She answered my question when I paid her $1. Still, even though the clauses have been reversed, I paid her $1 comes first. Okay, you have two past tense finished actions. In a when clause, just remember the clause that begins with when always comes first. Okay, that's the last little tidbit of information. We're over time. I got to go because I have to start another Verbling class right now. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys-
Bye.
Thank you,
teacher.
Lee.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, Jimmy.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.